Good afternoon. Welcome to another titillating version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your tedious and tiresome host, voice of Doom. Couldn't help but play that bumper music. I'm sorry. Poor taste. Just too perfect. Gonna continue on with what I was saying, which had nothing to do with the Nevada day, but was gonna say it yesterday. Kind of left you hanging, but wanted to talk about the recent events and how Nancy Paylossi, Speaker, is just being treated unfairly. She's going through a lot of trouble right now, and her riches and her power and prestige aren't helping her. Everything's going wrong, and I noticed the left-wing media turning on her. They've been turning on her for a couple of years now, and I find it unfair. I mean, unfair is unfair, and they're unfair to one person and should call out if they're unfair to someone else. Now, apparently, when Nancy is out of town, her husband seems to get himself into binds when he's left to his own devices, which I could relate to that. If I had $100 million and my wife was out of town, I would probably find a way to get myself into a pickle. But it's happening with alarming frequency and goes from one thing to another. Now, I did a preemptory diatribe on the hammer attack, and I was hearing rumors from the MSM that the attack was politically motivated by a mega, ultra mega. So I expounded on that, knowing I had no facts. And I still have no facts, but I've been hearing things from other people who have no facts, and it's really kind of obvious what's going on, but I shouldn't say it. It would be wrong. It would be wrong to say that this attacker was an illegal alien from north of the border, that this attacker was, I guess, he was a nudist activist. He sold hemp products, and he was homeless, which are all earmarks and hallmarks of being an ultra mega. So we can pretty much put that to bed. Now, the actual attack and the 911 call seems to be clouded in confusion. Now, apparently, either during or before or after the attack, Paul Paylossi asked to go to the bathroom and was granted that permission between hammer blows, and he called the police. Now, apparently, according to the dispatch, Paul Paylossi knew his assailant, and when the police got there, there was two men both in their underwear struggling, either both with each having a hammer or struggling over one hammer. And I guess it was dealt with after that. Now, they said that this person broke into this multi-million-dollar home, and it had no security, apparently. And their evidence was the side window, big, I don't know what they call those windows, bay windows were open. One was broken. Apparently the glass was on the outside of the window, not on the inside, which indicates that it possibly was broken after the fact, or he somehow snuck in and then broke the window from the inside. So, two men in their underwear, one man knows the other. a hammer attack takes place, and then somehow a scenario is set up to make it look like a burglary or a break-in. Make of that what you will. I will not draw any conclusions. But I'm tired of the mainstream media picking on Nancy incessantly because of her January 6th riots. And they're harping on and on and on about that insurrection, which Nancy Pelosi planned, executed, expedited, and allowed to happen. It was preconceived by Nancy to start a riot after the election so that they would have fodder against Orangey, and so they could vilify any mention that there was even one discrepancy in the vote. But this MSM and MSN and CNN and Doggy Den are all harping about January 6th, and it just gets Paylossi deeper and deeper because she was the perpetrator. Why are they picking on her? Just leave January 6th alone. Okay, Paylossi started a riot, and it went bad, and a few policemen were injured, and a bunch killed themselves later in shame. So, are you going to keep blaming her or not? I mean, just leave it alone. I told you in other diatribes that if you start picking on people too much, then people start feeling sorry for them. And you cannot forget that the election is coming up and the D's have the idiot bloc firmly in their camp, and they will never leave. So you want to keep the idiot bloc. So don't harp on her riots anymore. Leave it alone. If you keep doing that, people will feel sorry for the insurrectionist. So I don't want to hear about January 6th. There's other things that we can lambaste Paylossi about. There's many other things. Her lying, her duplicitousness, her utter hypocrisy. Now, I think I've said enough about that. I think people should reach their own conclusions about how these two males were caught in their underwear with hammers. I mean, it's obvious that D's stands for debauchery and perversion, and that's been their whole platform for many years now. And if you delve into certain conspiracy theories, it's even worse than anyone could possibly imagine. But two men in their underwear with hammers, okay. I don't know what that is. If there's a new fetish going on or some trend, but just draw your own conclusions. Don't listen to me. I have no facts. I only get my facts from people who have no facts. So, we'll leave that there. The election now. Excuse me. As I said before, 2020's elections were pristine. There was not one ballot that was not legitimate, and every ballot was counted, except in Georgia, where they're turning people of color away at the polls and getting record numbers of votes cast. I don't know how that works, but that's what's happening now. Will it be the height of impunicity if, say for instance, the Goppers do have a red tsunami? Would it be the height of duplicity if the D's suddenly shout to the high heavens about how the vote is fraudulent, no matter which vote it is? And I think that they will, and I think the idiot bloc will block that out of their mind and say, yes, there was voter fraud everywhere in this election because the Goppers won. So that's going to be fun to see. It's 9 days away now, and the anticipation is excruciating because I can't wait to see what happens, because no matter what happens, it's going to be funny. And I didn't really plan this diatribe. It was off the cuff. I think it was not too bad, but I will end my tirade today with my dream team, because I was watching all the Foxers and Redacted and this and that and the other, Lion, and just seeing politicos on the screen and touting for themselves. And I just thought to myself, well, what if I was the only voter in America, or what used to be America? Just this scenario, hypothetical. And so basically I could choose exactly who I wanted in what position. And I started to put together my administration. Not that I'd be in it. I'd be the last person I'd choose. But thinking about a dream team of 2024, it's not going to happen because there's too many egos involved. But here's my dream team for the administration 2024 after Petri Dish has been committed. Probably Fetterman will run in the Democrats' side. But my dream team of who would be in charge would be Carrie Lake as president, Tulsi Gabbard as vice president. We'd have the best looking government in the whole planet. As chief advisor, I would have Orangey giving advice behind the scenes. Not going to happen. Everybody knows Orangey, and he wants credit even when he never gets any. I just thought, well, Secretary of State, I was thinking Cruz, somebody like that, somebody that's tough, somebody that nobody's going to fool with. And Secretary of Defense, I was thinking maybe Chip Roy, because he looks kind of mean. And that's as far as I got. I mean, those are the top few slots. I don't know. Let's think just off the top of my head who would be Attorney General. Well, Rand Paul isn't an attorney. Well, maybe he is an attorney. I know he's a doctor. But he'd probably be a good Attorney General even if he never went to law school. Because he has a brain, you can tell. So that's that. I'm not even going to go 15 minutes because I have nothing more salient to say. I think I said what I wanted to say real quick. Just say one thing about the parade that I missed. I didn't want to say it because it's mean. I didn't want to say that I'm watching all the crowds at the parade. First of all, they're very Caucasoid. There's a bunch of people, they're this and that and the other. There's even a few wokester Gen Zers. There was one guy, and he was about high school age, and he was in an orange top and a pink mini skirt and high boots and a blonde hair with purple highlights and hairy legs and a half beard, which I don't know what this new look is, but you don't really know what pronouns to use because are you a bearded lady or what? I could tell from across the street looking, that's a guy, because I know how to spot a transgender person from 2 miles away. I can spot them because I know a lot about the subject. And I saw, well, not too bad. Then the beard, I saw the hairy legs, but then the beard later, and it's like, I just don't like the look. If you want to project and whatever they call it, project as a female, then look female. Don't be half and half looking, and then people are even more confused, and then you get pissed no matter what you call them. So I noticed that, and I was just going to say with all the Caucasoids in the parade, and I was watching, get more and more people milling around everywhere in cars and RVs and barbecues, and people throwing ribs at each other, and they're all drinking very early in the morning. The stupidity is rampant, and I saw a few cars just kind of trying to get a good space, not knowing that there was a woman with a stroller walking right behind them. And I'm watching going, well, is this car going to see that they're about to run over a kid and their mom, or his? And it occurred to me that maybe that's the proof of God, that nature's God, that eludes everyone is if you look at Carson City and realize that they haven't burned themselves down to the ground by now, that there must be a benevolent deity looking over us. I mean, I don't want to appear snarky or holier than thou or, smarter than everyone, but stupid populace. I mean, real dumb. So there must be a God watching. And I thank God, because I live in a manufactured home and it'd go up and, like that, if the whole town started burning down through people's own stupidity. So that was my little coda to the parade. And I think I said a lot for you to think about vis-a-vis the attack. Because as all the facts come out, then they're going to need to do something with this hammer wielder. He will not be able to go to trial if he's allowed to say what was going on, because that's just not going to fly. So we'll see if he manages to survive the trial. He'll probably be let out with no bail, and he'll bail back to Canada. So we'll leave it at that. It went actually as long as I wanted. Okay. Enjoy the afternoon, and I'm going to work, and thanks.